Denise Reed was born addicted to heroin. With a mother that was rarely in the home, she went to live with her great aunt. Until one day, at 5 years old, her mother took her back to live with her and her boyfriend.
My mom came and got me and my brother, that she kidnapped us, and she took us to San Bernardino with her and her boyfriend. He would beat us pretty badly. We wouldn't eat for like days at a time. My mom was a prostitute and a drug addict, so it was one time we was in this hotel room. I guess the police came in. From that point on, I didn't see her again because she went to jail.
From then on, Denise went to multiple foster homes and was sexually abused by a foster mom's son.
So my grandma came and got me at the age of 7. So I came back to San Diego from San Bernardino, and I stayed with her from the age of 7 to 12. And so from the age of 7 to 12, her husband was sexually abusing me.
Ultimately, she was placed back in foster care and out from under the control of the abuse. By the time she was 18, Denise would be in 15 group homes and 7 more foster homes. Along the way, she started smoking pot to cope with her pain. She got pregnant at 16 years old and was in a series of relationships.
Even started dating women and men. At the age of 17, I tried to take my life twice. And I just progressed in my drug abuse.
By 18, she had no support and no hope.
I was homeless most of the time. My son, though, lived with his dad's mom. So I ended up in Job Corps for like a year, still drinking, still drugging. So I'm getting my first job, and so I'm excited because I'm thinking like my life changed, you know. I could not hold a job. I could not hold like a house, like I couldn't keep it. Ended up getting pregnant with my second child, having him, and then a year later having my daughter. I could not take care of them, and so my son went with one of my foster mom's friends, and my daughter went with her dad.
As the years went by, she was using crack cocaine and prostituting herself to feed the addiction. In desperation, she cried out to God.
I was at the age of 30. I sat in the middle of the street and I said, Lord, I need you to help me. And so it was like he gave me some strength. I stopped using drugs, just stopped. I met a guy and he became my first husband. Started going to church and then he started going to church.
Yet 2 years later, her husband died, sending Denise back to her old ways.
I didn't have foundation in the Word of God. So I didn't have the truth of God to keep me.
For the next 5 years, Denise would return to the cycle she had left behind.
I started dating a guy, met him, and it was very abusive. And so I stayed in a homeless shelter. I'm still not seeing my kids, you know.
She moved to Louisiana, was in a shelter until she landed a job and an apartment. Drinking again, she finally reached rock bottom.
I started drinking. And the Lord took the apartment, the job, and everything within a month. And I ended up at the rescue mission. This is like my 9th homeless shelter. So I'm like done now. And I told Jesus, I said, if you're real, like I don't want church and I don't want religion. I need you to reveal yourself to me if you're real.
Alone and desperate, she cried out for help and for God to take over.
And so like I'm sitting there in the foyer, nobody's in the foyer, I'm waiting to go get a bed. In about 2 hours, a fire fell on me and I couldn't move for hours. And I've never been the same since, literally. And I would study the Word. And the Word of God says to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, because the Word of God is active and it's alive and it's truth.
After that experience, Denise remarried. And now she and her husband help young people formerly addicted to drugs.
I see His mercy and His unfailing love. His unfailing love of how much He loves me. I love when He says, I will leave the 99 just to get to the one. And I feel like I was that one. He's never left you. He's always been there through the good, the bad, and the ugly. and he truly, truly loves you. Like that's my whole story. It's a love story, and it's a hope story.